Good evening, everybody. So here's the deal with tonight, right? So first of all, as everybody could probably tell by my voice, I'm sick as fuck right
Yeah,
now.
John's dying.
I feel like shit, but I am a dedicated, responsible game dad who loves his game children. And so even though there's only three of us, we said, fuck it, let's just sit around and bullshit for a little while. I'm gonna do my best. I got a cough drop in right now, so I'm gonna do my best to hang.
Is it medicated?
It is actually. No, this is the good shit, man. I've got the stuff with like it's honey lemon,
Yes,
right? Because I don't
has to be honey lemon.
fuck around with menthol. It tastes like shit.
None of that Vicks Vapor Rub shit.
I don't like that Vicks Vapor Rub taste. I don't. I really don't. But here's the real shit. These cough drops have like the gooey like honey lemon filling inside of them.
Now we're talking. Yeah.
Yeah, it gets that good throat coat. Hell yeah, man.
That's like some shit you can drop in some tea.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I had in my little flowery cup.
You have a hot toddy?
I had a no, I was drinking it while we were off stream, but I had Vicky made me a little bit of that lemon ginger zinger with a little honey and sugar. Dude, goes down so smooth when you got a sore throat.
You gotta make it a hot toddy, man.
I ain't gonna lie though, dude. I feel like fucking ass. Like I feel like somebody beat the shit out of me. It's fucking terrible.
Just punched you in the throat several times.
Sam in chat says honey lemon throat coat or get out, no question.
Yeah,
Sam is
absolutely
correct. Like that might be one of the best takes Sam's ever had.
John, I'm gonna be thinking of you as I drink this Boilermaker.
Man, I really like. I could have a beer, but like if I'm sick and shit, like I wouldn't enjoy it. So whatever.
That's fair.
I almost took the night off because we've got the morning show that we're kicking off tomorrow to kind of rest my vocal cords. But fuck it, dude. There's no rest for us, man. Like,
yeah, man. That's not how it goes. You got to have those dulcet, gravelly tones, man.
We do. Like, I don't know. Like, do I sound a little smoldering right now?
A little bit. You got kind of a little bit of growl in you. You got a little growl in your voice.
How's everybody in the chat tonight?
You're no Christopher Judge, let me tell you that.
I'm definitely not. I could probably do a pretty good Batman from I could probably do a pretty
the
good
Kevin
Christian
Conroy
Bale.
Batman.
No, I could probably do the Christian Bale Batman right now.
See, I think you can do a pretty good animated series Batman. I think you're getting close.
Who I am underneath.
Anyone can do that. All you have to do is hate yourself.
Me. No, that actually like almost. I feel like my throat's bleeding now.
You shouldn't do that then.
It really fucking sucks. What's up, everybody? Episode 148 of SDGC. As you can see, it's only me, Derek, and Brandon, but who fucking cares? Literally everybody else. Oh, and look at that. Rar just subscribed to tier 1. Rar, thank you,
thank you, buddy.
We appreciate that. Now with the coveted Saki emote. So Derek, we got some more emojis coming, don't we?
I mean, eventually, I've got to get a picture of a barrel from one of the like 8 people in SDGC that said they were going to get a barrel picture.
I'll tell you what, I will get you one. I will get you one tonight.
It'll happen in due time.
We're gonna have the fuck barrel emoji, and then I mean, it's got to be the yellow beanie, right? Like it's
sure. I mean, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, who knows?
We can worry about this later.
We can fucking worry about that later. Right now, do we want? So there's not a lot that happened this week. We're gonna talk about the Sony Microsoft stuff. We're gonna talk about a couple other things, but right now let's talk about some games we've been playing. Do we want to kick off with A Plague Tale, or Brandon, do you want to start with Rage 2?
I want to hear about A Plague Tale.
Yeah, right, I got to hear about this game because I didn't really even know anything about it until a couple days ago. So,
hold on, I'm gonna quote tweet
I know absolutely nothing about it.
Yeah,
other than,
I'd seen the name.
Positive impressions, but I don't even know what the gameplay is like, or the genre of the game, or anything even like that.
So this game wasn't even on my radar until literally yesterday, like the day it came out. I had no fucking idea. I don't know where I was when they were talking about this game, but all of a sudden I saw A Plague Tale in my feed, and it was getting really good reviews, and I was like, okay, what the fuck is this? So read the reviews. I was like, you know what, this sounds fine. It's set in 14th century France during the plague, and during the Spanish Inquisition, which is not a time period, or especially a subject that you see tackled in games very often. Talking about the Black Death. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. So you're playing as Amicia, not Alicia, Amicia. And dude, I'm gonna have nothing by tomorrow. I'm gonna have
That's
nothing
fine.
left. But you're playing as Amicia, and she is the daughter of a French nobleman. And the whole point of the game is your brother is sick with something. It's not the plague, but I
That's
don't really
weird
know.
because
They
it's
haven't.
in the name. So
Yeah, right. Yeah, like he's not sick with the plague. He's got like they say something, a condition in his blood. They haven't really specified what it is, but you are trying to get him through 14th century France during the time of the plague. And it's primarily like 95% puzzle based stealth. And right off the bat, first of all, the game is fucking gorgeous. It is I've never even heard of the developer. If somebody in chat could throw out who the developer is, I feel like an asshole not knowing it right off the bat. I've never heard of them. This game is fucking gorgeous, especially with the lighting. And speaking of the lighting, Light is
Asobo.
Asobo Studio. Yeah, like I said, never fucking heard of them. Um, whenever I hear Asobo, I think of the big bald guys from Double Dragon. By the way, it's a very similar name to
Abobo.
Abobo. But light is very important in A Plague Tale because what else is what was the carrier of the plague in in the 14th century? It was rats, and rats are the primary antagonist in this game. And there are upwards of 6,000 rats on screen. And dude, let me tell you, they are so fucking stress inducing. Like,
Oh,
so dude, like, and you wouldn't think that there would be like massive epic set pieces.
I have to look at a trailer of this game.
yeah.
Like, dude, there are literally parts of the game when you're like on a battlefield littered with corpses, and the lights dimming, the sun's going down, and all of a sudden, like literally, just rats start exploding out of the earth, and you've got to get to
Oh.
and the whole point of the game.
Wait, this shit is M rated. What game? I had no idea what this game was.
Dude, like the technology used to create the rats is amazing. Like they're in constant motion. If you're in chat, look up like by all means, look up a video of it right now. It's pretty incredible. Touching the rats getting on you, instant death. You're done. Like, and these things will. I mean, it's crazy how stress inducing they actually are. And Sam says Asobo has like 50 devs on the team, if that. What they've done is extremely impressive. And when I say puzzle-based stealth, basically, a couple chapters into the game, like things open up. Like for example, in chapter 5, I think there's like 17 chapters. It's a meaty game, by the way, too. Like it's like fucking like a 14, 15-hour game. So I got to a battlefield, right? I got to a battlefield, and like the gameplay a little bit. Did you guys ever play Ico?
Yeah, actually, you know what I was gonna say when we were done was this kind of reminds me about of Echo, which is another small studio, really graphically impressive for how small it is, built on one central like stealth and puzzle mechanic that does really, really good at making you feel incredibly stressed out. So if it gives you that same feeling as Echo, I'm down because it was a great little title.
So it's not a platformer, but the reason that it gives me the Ico vibes is because you remember how you're constantly holding Yorda's hand?
Yeah,
it's the same thing here. Like you're constantly holding your little brother's hand. Like he's always with you. I'm talking like yeah. So
you mean
the
game before Shadow of the Colossus in the same series, not the indie title Echo that came out
a
couple years ago.
I was not the only one.
I was confused.
I'm sitting here thinking I've never heard of a game called Echo. I'm sure there's a game called Echo, but I don't know what you're talking about. And when you say Yorda, I was like, oh, you mean
yeah.
Anyway,
but it's very similar to that. It really gives me those vibes because your brother is a constant presence, and you have to help him navigate all these challenges that he can't do on his own. He's only 7 or 8 years old. So like I was crossing a battlefield, right?
So it's very much a little bit like Brothers or A Way Out.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit.
It's single player, right?
It is single player. Yeah, there's no multiplayer aspect here, and it doesn't need it. I reached this battlefield, which is literally covered with so many dead bodies that you're just walking on the bodies. And there are rats that are just swarming in and throughout the body. So you've got to constantly get from light source to light source. There's like bonfires around the battlefield and torches. You got to find a way to and you can get sadistic too. There are guards, the Inquisition is after you. And like for example, you can start using the environment in really creative ways. Like you can sneak up behind a guard and knock him out with some sleep powder. You can throw something and try to distract him, or if he's carrying a lantern, you can take a rock and knock the light in the lantern out, and the rats will swarm him and kill him. It's really, really cool, and the voice acting is really well done too. And I could not be more impressed with what they've done. And it's also a $49 title. It's not even a full price title, and you're getting a beautiful game with some interesting gameplay systems, a great story. Like I'm in love with this game. Like I've been playing it. I just got done playing it before we started the podcast. It's great. And on PC, by the way, Brandon, it runs at a very easy 60 frames a second.
Oh, awesome. With all those rats even?
Yeah.
Damn. Huh. Are you playing on PC or are you?
I'm playing on PS4 Pro, but it's a lock 30 because I just, I'm not a huge PC gamer. But
it's $45 on Steam.
Yeah, and it runs really well, Brandon. It runs really well.
So it's selling pretty well on Steam.
It is.
Yeah, it's up there.
Dude, it's a great fucking game. Like I would highly recommend it to everybody if you're on the fence.
I'll have to wish list it.
Yeah, I just was gonna add it to my wish list. Let's see. Oh, there's a Sean Bean trailer. I saw someone talking about that earlier.
Derek, what have you been playing?
A bunch of different things. Obviously, I've been continuing to slowly play Super Robot Wars T because that's the kind of thing that lasts forever, and you got to play in bits. I've been streaming Dark Souls 2. Just finished today. I had just beat Sekiro earlier this week because I'd been streaming it, and I finally was like, look, I can't do this on stream. It's a little too much for me to try to experience this fresh and also entertain. So of course, the minute I stopped streaming it and just started playing, I started tearing through the game. And that was a good experience. Tomorrow I'm starting up Dragon's Dogma again for the first time in forever, and I'm looking forward to that.
That make sure you tweet that at Wout. He'll be happy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sure. But that's where I'm at right now. Right now it's a good backlog time for me because there hasn't been a whole lot that's come out super recently. Like, I'm not usually a big shooter guy and usually not a big open world type of guy. So like Rage and Days Gone, big releases, everyone's really enjoying them. Not really up my alley. Usually.
I haven't even it hasn't even crossed my mind to pick up Days Gone.
So
I'm sure I'll try it at some point.
For me, I don't think there's anything really for me, like maybe Judgment next month. But other than that, it's not until we hit like Fire Emblem and Marvel Ultimate Alliance that I have any other big titles to grab.
Remind me what Judgment is again?
Judgment is the Yakuza team, their new IP.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. So I don't care about that.
Oh, I don't know how you can say that, but that's okay.
I'm not a Yakuza. I've never been a Yakuza guy.
Oh,
just not for me.
It's okay.
Brandon, fine. You've been playing a lot of Rage 2.
I got 20 hours in it in 2 days.
I want to hear what you think about this game, or at least I know what you think. I want you to tell everybody in chat what you think so far.
It is a good mixed bag. We're going to use that term.
Yeah, okay. All right.
If a game deserves to be called a mixed bag, I mean, it's like fucking Rage 2 is like, it's like you bring those forbidden terms out ever so rarely, and like this is like the one time where it's deserved it, because what's there is there is a lot that is just some of the best first person shooter gameplay you will ever play in any game ever, and then there's a lot that's just like, why did they not learn literally anything from Mad Max that came out 4 years ago, or for that matter anything from Rage 1 that came out like 8 years ago? Like it inherits a lot of problems from the games that it was built from, and then tacks on like almost somewhere around Doom 2016 level combat around all that.
What's interesting? You know what's interesting about Rage 2, Brandon, is I played the first Rage and I actually really enjoyed it. And like I know that there were some texture popping issues with the game, but like as far as the actual game itself, it was beautiful. Like it was a gorgeous game.
Yeah, I thought it looked great when the textures were there.
Rage 2 is not what I would call a looker.
Oh.
I was actually quite surprised at how unimpressive it does look.
Sometimes it does look really good. I don't know. I don't think it looks as bad as some people are saying.
I'm talking. Okay, so like I should be specific, right? Like some of the NPCs look just like ooh, what happened?
Character models are bad. like straight up bad.
And you posted
Like
a text. You posted a texture the other
yeah.
day that was straight up PS2.
Yeah, that was weird. I posted that on Twitter earlier, but it was like it's one of the story missions, and you get in like this pod that carries you across like a factory, and when the chamber like closes on you, the texture, like the metallic texture, looks 18 years old. Like it looks
I
it looks
saw
like
that.
something out of like 2001 PS2. But for the most part, like it does look really good sometimes, and like the explosions look amazing. Like it is some of the best looking explosions in any game, and everything explodes. So you see a lot of good looking explosions a lot. The game has a good amount of color. For like Rage 1 was the
It was just
grayest game
brown.
you'll play
It
this
was
site. Yeah,
brown.
it's
Yeah.
brown and gray, and the skybox was a nice shade of dark blue. But other than that, there was like no color in the game whatsoever. So, and I'm not even just talking about like the pink, aesthetic that the game has going on. Like, cause it's like, you know how like Uncharted 2 is a little bit obsessed with yellow. They're like, okay, if there's yellow, that's where you jump up to climb. Rage 2 does the same thing with pink. And like, storage containers have pink
Yeah.
lids, and ladders are pink, and buttons that you have to push are pink, and all that's like that. But even just aside from that, like there is a good amount of color. It's not overly vibrant, but I mean, it doesn't look exactly like a post-apocalypse. It doesn't look like Mad Max.
You said something really. You were talking with Justin in the DM the other day, and you said something really interesting. When you guys were kind of having a back and forth, and you mentioned that not only did none of the humor land.
Oh yeah, the game is not funny. It
You,
tries to be.
like you said that it felt like all of the humor had been dropped in there after the marketing was done.
Oh yeah, for sure. So, I mean, if anyone's seen the trailers for Rage, it's all Andrew WK, singing with his keyboard and "Get Ready to Die" and blah blah blah, and all this goof. They put the NBA Jam announcer as like an unlockable voice pack, and so
Why?
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 What?
First off,
there is
hold
a
up.
good
Why
answer to the
not?
question why. Because without that stuff, the game has no personality whatsoever.
Okay.
The developers put very, very little effort into giving the game like a unique identity, and so Bethesda's marketing department had to do that job for them.
Andrew
Straight
WK is a replacement for a personality, though.
Yes,
that does
exactly,
work.
exactly. So the reason why at Bethesda's E3 show last year that Andrew WK was up on stage singing is because the game doesn't have much to show for itself.
Like
in terms of like marketable atmosphere and personality.
The way you describe this thing, and the way that I've heard it described from other people, it kind of makes me think that like as amazing as the combat sounds, like it's this game's one saving grace.
Well, it kind of is, because there's a game that's exactly like this that doesn't have good combat, and it's Mad Max.
Yep. Oh god, the combat in Mad Max was so bad.
Yeah, so this game has the exact same structure as Mad Max, except instead of an Arkham style, Fists of Fury beat 'em up, it's a first person shooter.
Do you think this game, Brandon, would have
everything else
benefited?
is the same as Mad Max.
Do you think it would have benefited from being a linear shooter as opposed to an open world game?
You know what? A lot of people will say yes, and the more I've played it, I've come around to thinking not. Like this game has to be open world because of how focused it is on upgrading your character and your abilities. No. If this game was a linear shooter, it wouldn't be the same game.
I actually like watching gameplay videos of it, and seeing people running around and blasting fucking mutants and bandits away, with a gun in one hand and like using those powers in the other hand. It gives me almost kind of a BioShock vibe.
Yeah, there's a little bit like the cooldown abilities feel like plasmids. It has like a very bullet storms. It doesn't reward you with points necessarily, like bullet. So you're not, but there is a combo meter, and so the faster you're killing people, the more you're building up a combo meter, which charges your overdrive ability, which recharges your health, which allows you to just stay in combat all the time. And it's essentially the equivalent of like a glory kill mechanic. The glory kill is what lets you stay in there. So this game, it's about keeping up your combo and charging overdrive.
Sounds a little bit like
there is a quick flow to the combat, and it does reward aggression. for sure.
Sounds a little bit like Doom. The getting in there and getting those
Yeah,
those gory kills for extra health.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
What
yeah,
about
that's
the
you can regenerate health. There's a lot of ways to regenerate health, which is good because that means taking damage is not all that much of a concern. So, and you're gonna take a lot of damage. Like grenade. The one thing you'll notice when you play Rage 2 is like, holy fuck, the enemies like to throw grenades. It's World at War level of like 6 grenade icons on your
Oh
screen at the
god,
same time.
that sounds awful.
However, there's an unlockable ability you can get very early in the game where if you melee, it'll like knock the grenade back at the enemy. So like there's a point, like because you can, even though it's throwing grenades at you, you can send them back at them.
If I had a nickel for every grenade I punched back at an enemy in
Yeah.
Iraq,
Oh, dude,
then
you just rifle button grenades left and right.
all over the fucking place, dude. All over the fucking place.
And there's an ability that lets them home in on them once you knock them back to them. So like the skill tree, this game is the mother of all fucking skill trees. Like there's like 100 skill trees in this game. It's fucking ridiculous.
Like as far as content goes, I mean, it's like a 50-hour experience, right?
Yeah.
Like if you want to do everything.
Yeah. So you can beat the campaign in like 8 hours straight up. If you just go from like campaign marker to campaign marker and you're playing on normal difficulty where it's not very important to like get all the upgrades, you can beat the game in like 7 or 8 hours for sure.
That's fucking
But
wild for an open world game.
yeah, but that's not the point. The story missions are the same as Mad Max. There was very few story missions in Mad Max, and they're very short. And you very quickly realize it's not the main point of the game.
Did somebody in our group beat Rage 2 like super quick, like in 8 hours or something, because they just blew through? Or am I misremembering something?
Justin beat it pretty quick, didn't he?
Somebody did, I thought.
I believe it was Justin.
I think Justin and I are the only ones playing it.
But I've
That's
actually
like that's the thing in Mad Max. But in Mad Max, you realize like it's not about the story missions. It's about collecting scrap to upgrade the magnum opus. Mad Max was a game about the car, in the same way Rage 2 is a game about the shooting. And the only thing that matters is the shooting. And any way that you want to get around the world to engage in the shooting, that's the intended experience of playing the game. So like, if you're just beelining story mission to story mission, that's not really what the developers wanted you to do.
I just want to point out to everybody in chat that Brandon actually DM'd everybody a picture of the bad guy General Cross, and that is the most generic looking fucking villain shit I've ever seen.
His head looks like Darth Vader without the mask, and then his body looks like a Transformer.
Like it's thoroughly like sci-fi original film level.
It's pretty. Yeah. It's pretty, and I saw the picture, and I told Brandon, I said, I don't even need you to tell me what his motivation is. I already know it's humanity is now weak and needs to be replaced by robots.
I couldn't tell you what his motivation is because I've been skipping all the cutscenes and all the dialogue because that shit only gets it's very long. Characters talk a lot, like they don't stop talking, and they don't have anything interesting to say, but they say a lot.
So it's reverse Doom.
Yeah, but I mean, so here's the thing. They at least Rage 2 lets you press at whatever key it is on a controller or the F key on a keyboard to skip any line of dialogue from an NPC, because Doom 2016 didn't. Like when you were in those exposition rooms.
I remember that.
Yeah, you just had to sit there for 30 seconds and listen to what they had to say.
Sorry, I'm rustling my bag of,
it's okay.
Of cough drops.
But yeah, if there's anything to take away from like overall what Rage 2 is about, it's about using all of the tools at your disposal to fuck shit up in like the most explosive and over the top way humanly possible, to create the most visual chaos on the screen at one time that you can. And it's just like this, fury of like using this one ability and then switching your shotgun, like you're sending dudes up in the air and blasting them in midair. You're fucking like you're throwing a black hole at a group of guys and then chucking a grenade over to it. You're locking on to like a whole group of guys with your rocket launcher. You're hovering in midair. You're fucking slamming your fist down on the ground and like creating like a shockwave that throws everyone back. Like there's so much that you can do in a given situation that I don't know when the combat will get boring, because it's been 20 hours and it's not even close to boring yet. Like 20 hours of running around shooting guys. and it's still interesting. I feel like I haven't used everything that the game has given me. Like I feel like I can experiment a lot more. Like I feel like I can improve as a player to be more efficient. Like there's a lot of depth to the combat.
How many towns are in the game, by the way? Like I know there's
Yeah, so
Wellspring and
this is another
Gunbarrel.
this is a disappointing part of the game because there's I believe 4 and they're very unimportant. Like in the same way that going to Wellspring in Rage 1 felt like kind of a waste of time. You're like, what the hell am I doing here? Like just like
Yeah, there's nothing to
put me
do.
back in another bandit den and let me throw wing sticks at mutants. Like, well, why am I
Yeah.
talking to these people? So Rage 2 feels like the same way. Like you get to Wellspring and there's a bunch of NPCs around and there's like a marketplace where you can, trade your junk and whatever. But like you just while you're walking around talking to NPCs, you're just like, okay, get me back out there. And there's not much to see in them. Like there's nothing to explore. They're just places where NPCs live.
That's disappointing. I was hoping there would be more to do out in the open world as opposed like I know the combat's great, but I was hoping there would be more meat on the bones other than
Sure.
like
I mean,
go explode this gas station, go kill this mutant den. Like I
that's
don't
what
know.
it is. Yeah, you're going
Yeah.
from gas station to mutant den to back to town to trade in all your junk and get new quests and upgrade your weapons and health and stuff, and then you go back out and you do more quests. Like
How big is the map? Like real estate wise, like
it is small but difficult to navigate because there's no straightforward paths, lots of turns, lots of areas you can't drive across. Like we're talking most of the map that isn't the road is bottomless pits that you'll just fall into. So you can't, so imagine like if you were trying to get around a Grand Theft Auto game and anything on the map that wasn't a road was a bottomless pit.
There are
Like-
bottomless pits in an open world game.
Yeah.
Has
yeah.
that
Like it's
ever
it's very
happened before? I can't think of anything.
I think Mad Max had the same.
Why would Mad Max have bottomless pits?
I think there was parts where you could just like fall off the world in Mad. I don't remember.
God.
It's been 4 years since I played Mad Max.
that's outstanding.
Mad Max had a lot more flat, open desert that you could just drive at almost full speed across. Whereas Rage 2 has lots of like just it's either like water or trees that you can't drive. Or like I said, bottomless pits. So most of the time you have to stick on the road and you have to follow the path, and it's a very winding, not straightforward at all path.
I'm sorry.
So yeah, that sucks. However, there's a vehicle you get that just lets you fly wherever you want. And,
I'm okay with that. I mean,
and once you get that vehicle, you can just make a straight beeline
Then
from
why
that
are
marker
there
to
bottomless
that marker,
pits?
and you can fly over the bottomless pits.
Derek,
No, it absolutely does not make sense for there to be the bottomless pits. The world is very poorly designed and not fun to travel through at all.
This might be like
Just put like acid pools or something. I don't know.
It is one of the most mixed games I've ever played because it feels like when I think about it, like I have the devil on my shoulder and the angel on the other shoulder being like, the angel's like the combat, the rocket launcher, the shotgun. And then you got the fucking devil on the other shoulder being like the driving, the open world, the quality of life, the lack of a flashlight. Like there's all this shit.
Oh, the lack of a flashlight, Brandon. I didn't even realize that. And the game is
dark. The game is really dark. There is like when it's black, you can't see shit. And there's no flashlight, and they hide collectible items in pitch black darkness.
There was a video, Brandon, of some guy just firing his weapons over and over, navigating a place by the muzzle flashes.
That was me. I posted that video.
Oh, was that you?
Yes,
I didn't realize that was you.
Yes, I
That's
posted
fucking
that video.
amazing. That's amazing.
Depressing.
What a fucking design oversight to not include a flashlight.
Well, here's the thing. The game doesn't need a flashlight. You have a focus mode that if you hold down control, the character will hold his arm up and it'll you can like see outlines of enemies through walls. It's detective mode or whatever you want to call it. They could make that emit like an aura of light around you, but it doesn't.
Jesus Christ, dude. Like
so it's things like that. It's the game can be extremely annoying when you're not, blowing shit up with a rocket launcher.
This is a definite wait for sale for me, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
exactly.
I'll get around to it eventually.
If you're not a diehard like FPS aficionado who like, gets all giggly over the thought of like one of the best shotguns ever made in a video game, then yeah, just wait.
I thought you were gonna say Die Hard Rage fan, and I was like, there are none of those because the
there
original
Die
game
Hard-
wasn't
Aaron
good.
Paul,
Like,
yeah, Aaron Paul is the only diehard.
Yeah,
Rage is
pretty
my
much.
favorite game of all time. Love that fucking game. It's the best.
ugh.
Go ahead, Derek.
I was gonna say, if we don't mind, if I go back briefly, we're talking about what we were playing, and I left one thing out.
What did you
And-
leave out?
I've been playing Borderlands 2 recently. It's not a good game.
Did you play a lot of Borderlands?
Wait, hold
2 when
on
it
a
was
minute.
new?
Yeah, I went back to it, and I went back to it.
It's an amazing game.
No, it's not, because
Yes,
Borderlands
it
3
is.
is coming up, and I was like, I'm gonna go back to Borderlands 2. Borderlands 2 has some of the worst gunplay I have literally ever
It's
experienced in a
not
first.
that
It's
bad.
really bad. It's incredibly bad.
Like it's like it doesn't feel as good as like Doom 2016.
No,
for
it doesn't
example,
feel
but-
as good as Unreal 1 back in
No, that's
1998.
hyperbole.
No,
That's
it's
fucking
not.
hyperbole.
No, it's
Dio-
not.
Dio in chat put it great. It's serviceable. That's exactly what it is.
It's serviceable. It's serviceable
fine.
in that if you press a button, a bullet fires out and it does damage to the enemy, so it does technically do its job. But it's slow, it's floaty. None of that makes design sense for an open world game like Borderlands is by construction. The gunplay is not good. The writing is not good.
I like the writing in Borderlands too.
It's,
didn't-
I mean,
I didn't-
it's not as hyperbolically bad as a lot of people on the internet make it out to be. But I'm not a fan. I love the slight vape in the background. Thank you, Brandon.
You got it. I'm bringing the atmosphere.
Yeah, you're terraforming.
I love it.
But I fear that the game got along on basically Skinner box style like loot mechanics, just thankfully freed of super predatory like monetization like programs. That's not even really the way I want to phrase that, but y'all get what I'm getting
I mean,
at.
maybe it is because you have to follow Randy Pitchford for shift code.
That's the fucking
Yeah.
true. But
I refuse to follow Randy Pitchford, so I'm not ever getting any shift codes.
yeah, I'm not. So I mean, I was sitting here like, look, everyone is super hyped about Borderlands 3. I'm gonna remind myself I'm gonna go back to Borderlands 2, which sold like more copies than anything that I love.
Yeah, I
And-
feel like there was people that doubted the success of Borderlands 2.
No, it was
Not
gonna
you,
do
I'm not saying,
well.
but just like people in general, like that game.
Yeah.
That
Like,
game's a
you know,
big deal for Gearbox.
Direct, I think Direct Feed makes a really good point in chat. He said Borderlands 2 is a product of its time. A decade ago, it was revolutionary, and now it's standard and basic shit.
I mean, there are games from 2 decades ago that are mainstream with better shooting mechanics.
I
Again,
don't know about it.
you can go back to Unreal 1,
No, you
and they had this shit figured out better in terms of actual gunplay.
Yeah, like hit
Um,
feedback and hit. Yeah, no, it's all better. Like,
I
late
do.
Yeah.
90s sh- like,
I-
late
I-
90s shooters, but that's like What Borderlands 2 did as a structured game was a generation ahead of its time.
And the funny thing is, I think that the structure stuff is what holds up. It's the actual gameplay that
And
doesn't.
that was
But like,
criticized, even in 2011, yeah, people were like, it's kind of floaty. It's kind of like,
it's slow,
It's
it's
okay.
floaty. The guns don't feel that great to shoot. It's fun when you get a new gun and it shoots
it takes a
vastly
lot of
different.
bullets to
But
kill things, and you just see a lot of numbers come off them.
yeah. It's like playing Diablo 3. You know what I mean? Like, is
That's
Diablo?
well, I
3
mean that's exactly what the game is.
right?
Like,
And I don't think Diablo 3 is a good game. So it's
I strongly
I strongly fucking disagree with you.
It's
Yeah.
not
On
a
Diablo
bad
3?
game, but it's not a great game. Like, give
What
me
was in
Diablo
that
2 any
fucking
day.
Boilermaker?
I mean, whiskey and beer.
Drop some fucking. Did you drop some codeine in there?
No, I'm being a little overly
I'm the
rough on
biggest
Diablo
fucker in the
3.
world
I
for
am, but
Blizzard polish. So like, just
Yeah.
how Diablo 3 feels is perfect.
direct feed. Okay, so both of these things in chat are true. Diablo 3 is fun co-op. I actually love the console version. I love playing that co-op. And it did improve so much with Reaper of Souls.
It
But
did.
I mean, it's the same thing. Like, if all you're doing is making numbers go up and then back down and then back up because I got new gear with higher numbers, like, that's not. I don't like that at all. I don't think that's good. I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's good. So like I went back to Borderlands 2. Like, maybe I'm gonna get myself excited for Borderlands 3, despite Randy Pitchford being a not great human being. And no.
Shout out to Glorious War just subbed with Twitch Prime. We appreciate that.
I don't know what that was. I'm sorry.
I
I'm
don't know
very
what
white.
that was either.
I'm very white.
So here's something
water.
interesting I wanted to tell you. So I was talking earlier on Twitter about Final Fantasy XIV.
Yeah.
You guys know, everybody in chat knows, I'm a Final Fantasy stan. Like, I fucking love everything about. I'm even playing 12 on Switch right now because it's still a Final Fantasy game. So I'm gonna fucking play it on Switch.
And one of the better ones.
What's that?
And one of the better ones.
Here's the thing about 12, right? Like, I hadn't played it in a while. It's, you know, it's grown on me a little bit. It's never gonna be my favorite Final Fantasy. It's just not gonna happen. But you know what the funny thing is replaying 12 is actually highlighting a bunch of the flaws that 10 had. And 10, I feel like 10 is maybe, I feel like I'm starting to like Final Fantasy 12 more than 10. Simply because there are things about 12 that I always did. Like, I always like character design, for example, and I always hated it in 10. I absolutely loathe the character design. I feel like the character design in Final Fantasy X were just emblematic of all of Nomura's worst excesses. Just fucking.
Oh, he got worse afterwards, but you could see where it was coming
everywhere.
from.
I mean, dude, Lulu is peak Nomura.
See, I think Lulu is like the best character in the game.
Oh no,
She
like
is.
she's the most interesting. She's the most interesting character in the game. But that.
No, I mean like visual design wise.
You know what the funny thing is? If Lulu was in a cast of completely different other characters than we got in Final Fantasy X, I'd agree with you. Her design is fantastic, but like Nomura made her. So, I know.
His weird pants thing he's got going on.
No.
Wait, hold on. Which character is this?
Titus.
Oh,
His
Titus.
pants.
Yeah.
What's up with
I'm
his
sorry.
pants?
By the way, I say Titus because Titus just sounds fucking stupid.
I don't know what it is.
It's good because Titus is fucking stupid. So
I thought it was Titus because the game has so much to do with water. So
yeah, that's what I thought too. That's what you would think. Yep.
Titus.
Because his, these married characters' names are usually named after elements, like Squall, Cloud, Terra, Lightning.
Aerith is Earth.
Aerith, yeah, but
Titus.
It's let's face it, it's fucking Titus. I say Titus.
I said Titus.
It's Titus.
And then other people convinced me it was Titus.
Go back. You go back to the original, like the way it's written out in Japanese. It's Titus, because everything in Japanese is written phonetically. So it's Titus. It's very specific. It sucks.
It's Titus. Yeah.
Anyway,
but my original point is I actually just picked up Final Fantasy XIV. I'm not an MMO guy by any stretch of the imagination, and I've held off on this one for a long time. But the idea of just a huge, ever-growing Final Fantasy world inhabited by, hundreds of thousands of other people, just really, really.
Do you have the thousands of hours to put into the game to actually like the Kefka fight?
Yeah.
So from what I've heard, you can actually purchase your way to level 60 now.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I guess the expansions make it easier to get through old content.
Yeah. And you can pay to skip the entire main and just get right to the end game.
Yeah, sure. Just like the way WoW does, you buy the newest expansion, they give you
exactly.
The
That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
See, I my thing is, I'm looking at this. I don't know if it's the latest update or something from the expansion that's coming up, but I saw I saw a party beating X-Death in a raid, and then him disappearing. And then
hold on. You can fight X-Death in a raid.
He's apparently one of the raid bosses. There's tons of legacy bosses.
No. I know you can fight Kefka. I didn't realize X-Death was in
yes, X-Death, and you beat him, and he becomes Neo X-Death, and he is a faithful 3-dimensional recreation of the Neo X-Death design. And there is this super dope video clip where he disappears out into the void, and then the platform in the middle of nothingness that you're fighting, everything fades to black, and you see it looks like glass breaking in the blackness, and then you see the hand break through and tear open, and he comes through.
I gotta see it.
It's so good.
Holy shit!
Yeah, it's great.
Fucking cool.
So I love everything about Final Fantasy XIV, other than I wish I had the time to play it, because the time it would take me to play that, I could play a dozen other entire games.
Now, what about bosses like Zeramus or Chaos
I don't
or
know. I know Cloud of Darkness. I saw Cloud of Darkness as a fantastic design.
this game basically comes off to me as Final Fantasy
Oh
fan
my
fiction.
god,
It
that
is.
battle theme, that FF14 Neo X Death battle theme.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
so
God.
good. It's so good.
Yes,
Well, Neo
yes,
X has a
yes,
great
it
battle
is.
theme, so
I'm gonna have to fucking listen to that as
Oh,
soon
this
as we're
is
done
so
here.
Yeah.
good.
I actually saw the Kefka fight, and dude, it's got like it's got the those tiered creatures in the background, just like the actual like, oh, it's so fucking good. That was actually what sold. I was like, okay, I can't fucking pass this up anymore.
yeah.
But I picked that up, and I'm gonna put as much time into it as I can, just because I'm a huge. Everybody knows me in Final Fantasy, dude.
Yeah.
But speaking of Final Fantasy, what we actually haven't had a chance to talk about yet on this podcast is the new Final Fantasy VII trailer.
Didn't we last week?
I don't think we did last week.
As part of the
Did we?
PlayStation thing that happened right beforehand?
We talked about it a little bit at the
Did
end.
we talk about it?
Yeah.
I'm sick. I'm
quite
sick as
certain.
fuck. I feel like shit right now. So if we did, I apologize. I feel like pure ass right now. I saw somebody mention it in the chat. So
I don't know.
if we've already talked about it, whatever. What we haven't talked about is the Sony and Microsoft merger.
Merger.
Well, yeah, let's
Don't
get our
phrase
terminology
that so
correct here.
dangerously. Wow. Yeah,
So-
this is
so-
the one news item really from the last week. I feel like it's been a relatively low key
aside
news
from
week.
aside from the Splinter Cell thing.
We'll get into that.
Yeah. But so I've got an article here from Engadget, and I'm going to read it as best I can. I feel like my throat is bleeding right now. But it says, in an unlikely turn of events, Microsoft and Sony announced today that they are to tackle the future of entertainment. The companies are planning to work together to build future cloud solutions in Microsoft Azure that will support gaming and content streaming. Sony will also use Microsoft data centers for its existing game and streaming platforms. The agreement could open up the possibility of crossplay in the future, despite previous reluctance between the competing firms. The partnership effectively allows Sony to tap Microsoft's technology to help with areas that the company has struggled with. Sony has taken heat for years over slow download speeds, something that typically hasn't plagued Xbox owners. Using Azure data centers and eventually moving over to Microsoft's cloud solutions should allow Sony to focus on its own platform rather than trying to solve technical issues. Sony will also tap Microsoft's artificial intelligence services to improve the user interface in its products. So what does Microsoft get out of the deal? Aside from adding a major customer to its already very profitable cloud business, the company will gain access to Sony's image sensors. And by the way, like Sony makes more money off selling their image sensors than they do anything else.
Yes.
Which kind of threw me for a loop.
Sony's digital imaging technology is a core of their business on the enterprise side.
So oh god.
You mind if I take the first crack at this, John?
Please, I need to give my throat a rest anyway.
So here's the deal. I think this article does it too, but I think many of the articles and media takes I've seen have put maybe an overly like capital G gaming culture spin on this. There is nothing technologically preventing crossplay between Sony and Xbox right now, despite what that article talks about this helping pave the way. I mean, because we're seeing this already between other platforms. Sony's just as a company is choosing to hold out. I would like to believe that this move is showing that maybe Sony's going to open up some of their closed garden that they've got set up. But this has nothing to do really with the gaming side of things in any meaningful way that a lot of consumers are likely to care about. This is back-end and enterprise stuff. Sony, as an electronics and enterprise company, is assisting Microsoft as an electronics and information enterprise company in developing their server and cloud like data streaming technology that will have application for gaming down the road. I think one of the better takes I've seen is actually in relation to Google Stadia. We know that Google has their streaming focused game like platform coming out. And we know that Microsoft is looking into that territory and Sony has tried to look into it. We know that both of these companies are better off working together to develop this technology and then Sony licensing you know, you know, basically the service from Microsoft and developing it themselves. And Microsoft gains by having a really big, I mean, Sony's not the biggest name in consumer electronics anymore because other than, say, their cameras, they're really not much of a market leader in any, oh, and PlayStation, of course, they're not much of a market leader in any given consumer electronics category, but they are still an enterprise giant. They are still a tremendous designer and manufacturer of parts, especially their image sensors. So they are a very valuable partner for Microsoft. But I just want to make this clear. A lot of people, I keep seeing these takes of like, oh, we're going to see Game Pass on PlayStation and we're going to see crossplay, and like, hang tight, y'all. Hang tight. We're not there.
Conclusions.
Yeah.
The takes on Twitter over this were hilarious. And what really got me were people who were upset. Did you guys see the people who were actually angry about this?
They're dumb. Oh, can I answer one quick question that's in chat real quick?
You can, please.
So Yasudi Blam is asking, why do they specifically mention gaming? And I think the answer to that is probably relatively mundane. It's going to be helpful for streaming services in the vein of PlayStation Now. It's not going to be so that you can log into Xbox Game Pass on your PlayStation 4 and play your Play Anywhere version of Crackdown 3, which is, I think, where a lot of big gaming fans want to move. But what it really means is that a lot of, like, if Sony, because let's be clear, part of the future of gaming is going to be streaming. That's not going to overtake physical consoles and physical games. Especially not for
a very, very, very
with the internet infrastructure. I mean, I have a data cap. I have a 1 terabyte data cap. I certainly couldn't do that. Yep. But for people, PlayStation services will. No, yes, that's exactly correct. PlayStation services will exist on servers directly tied to Microsoft. But what that means for you as a gamer, as a consumer, primarily means that Sony's services will benefit from better infrastructure. It is good for you, but put that in the correct perspective, right? Sony is going to have Microsoft's level of technology and level of support for their services. And I mean, sure, be hyped for cross saves. Again, like the fact that Sony's willing to partner with Microsoft is good. I'm just warning you that this has nothing to do with whether or not you see Sony or Microsoft games on each other's systems, or you see crossplay or cross save.
This isn't like a Switch situation where you're going to start seeing Lucky's Tale or Cuphead or Ori pop up. This is honestly, this is something that Sony's needed for a while, because I mean, you guys know I love my PS4, but I mean, their online infrastructure has traditionally been shit. Like it's and that's probably putting it gently. It's not very.
Remember us trying to get Resident Evil 5 going co-op and stream?
Well, do you remember the big Sony hack of 2011?
Too.
But it was 2011, right?
20.
Yeah, sure.
Was it 20? No, it was 2011. It was 2011.
It was a year.
Yeah, but I mean, it was like 5 months that the fucking network was down, basically. Yeah, they have always needed some help with that, and Microsoft are pioneers in this kind of thing. So I think it's going to be good for everybody. But I don't think that you are going to see any, cross-pollination of games. And I think the reason you're seeing it with the Switch is because even though they're partnering with Sony in this regard, these two are still competitors. Nintendo is not directly competing with Sony or Microsoft. That's not their goal.
Microsoft's never seen it that way either. They've published Microsoft titles. Age of Empires was on the DS when the Xbox was a thing. Like, Microsoft has published games on Nintendo systems before now.
Now it's in the future. I think it's entirely possible if Xbox becomes a service to maybe see that service on PlayStation. But they've already specified that there is another Xbox coming. So I mean, you're not going to see that happen for at least another decade, I would guess. And this is all premature because I mean, we don't know what the future holds for the next Xbox console. We don't even know anything about the PS5 yet. I guess we have specs for the PS5, but Yeah, I think people are getting way too excited about this. Although it is really cool. And it's interesting to see those bridges being built. I just don't like what they're hauling across the bridge they've built is something entirely different than what people are expecting, I think. Um, and I think people are setting themselves up for disappointment. Uh, but the people who are angry at this are the ones that make me laugh. It's like oh, we're not supposed, we're supposed to hate each other. We're supposed to be mad, and like these are competitors. Why would you give your competitor access to your cloud server? And it's like
Are you a fucking shareholder? Why do you care?
it's console wars, dude.
Exactly.
Back to the old console war shit. Is there
Like-
is there anything? Oh, the fucking Splinter Cell shit. I actually really want to talk about the Splinter Cell thing.
Yeah.
So
if we agree that we've run out of things to say about Microsoft and Sony, it's cool stuff. It's mostly back end. We shouldn't be overly excited at this point because we'll find out more actual hard details in the future.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like for the Sony and Microsoft story, like from an impact standpoint, it's really big, but from a meat and potato standpoint, there's really not a whole lot to say about it. And before we wrap up, I think we'll probably wrap up early because my voice is fucking just about done. But I want to talk about the Splinter Cell thing. Brandon, what is his name? I can't remember his name. The dev who tweeted about Splinter Cell this past week.
Oh, I saw the tweet, but I didn't really pay that close attention to who even said it.
I can't. If somebody in chat could,
I don't remember the name.
I can't remember his name. But one of the devs for Splinter Cell tweeted out, basically like he changed his Twitter banner to Splinter Cell, and he changed his avatar to Sam Fisher. And he tweeted out, well, hey, basically, hey, we're working on Splinter Cell. It's happening right now, blah blah blah. And then he tweeted, "Don't retweet this. I might be in trouble." And so everybody starts freaking out, and we were freaking out in the DM too. Everybody was like, "Holy shit, fucking Splinter Cell!" And then I think it was an hour later, Ubisoft came out and said, "Well, it's just a joke between friends. There's no actual Splinter Cell here. There's no fire. I know that you see all the smoke, but there's nothing actually happening here." Do we believe that?
Let me put it this way. If that was just a joke and not a tease specifically for a Splinter Cell game that's in development, then it was a joke that is entirely separate from the fact that there's a Splinter Cell game that's in development that will probably be revealed soon.
There's absolutely a Splinter Cell game.
There's a Splinter Cell game coming. I mean, it's the only one of those leaked Walmart titles that hasn't come true yet.
And I was going to say Walmart Canada is like got a perfect record so far, right?
Yeah, right. Like give them a Twitter account.
Like, you don't need to pretend that hard. You don't need to pretend that hard that we're stupid. Okay, like it's clearly fucking happening, and I agree with you, Derek. It's probably going to be announced at E3, and it's probably going to be on Microsoft stage, if I had to wager a guess.
Yeah. Well, there ain't going to be a PlayStation stage, so
nope. Although, is Ubisoft doing a conference this year?
I don't remember. I think so.
Because they've got some other unannounced titles that are coming. One of which I really hope is a sequel to Mario plus Rabbids, because I fucking love that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, Splinter Cell. It's obviously a thing. I don't understand why you would. Like, they have to know how in demand, like how desired a new Splinter Cell is. So I can't imagine why you would make that joke and get people worked up and then say, "Oh, never mind." Like I'm having a hard time trying to wrap my head around this one.
I'm with Sam in chat. If this is a joke, it's a particularly cruel and poorly thought out. Like, it's not funny at all because there's a ton of demand for it. It's not something that people are asking for out of the blue because we both had all the different leaked games that came out of the Walmart Canada listings. We had Michael Ironside reprising Sam Fisher for some bonus content in the last Ghost Recon, like post-release, right? Brandon, do you remember for sure?
Not really.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was post. I think it was post-release stuff. It was like the Predator thing. They had like a mission or two, but like Ghost Recon And it's been a while since Blacklist. It's been a hot minute.
It's been a few years.
6 years. Was that
Yeah.
2013 or 2012 even?
Maybe 7 years. Yeah, I mean it's been a while.
It's been a while.
Glorious War in chat he pointed out Splinter Cell is not happening anytime soon. Jason said so on
It was August
Reset Era.
2013. Yeah, 6 years almost.
Jason Schreier is generally a pretty reliable guy. And he has said that Splinter Cell isn't happening anytime soon. So maybe I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility actually that this was a joke. And if it is, what a shitty fucking joke.
It's kind of weird to me that Ghost Recon is a bigger Tom Clancy franchise than fucking Splinter Cell is.
Yeah, everything else Tom Clancy that they're doing and no Splinter Cell. It's
They got the Division is huge and Ghost Recon.
Everything other than Jason Schreier saying it's not happening, like, lines up to this. So let me put it this way. If there's not a Ghost Recon happening, then what the fuck is Ubisoft doing?
They could but he said not anytime soon, so they could conceivably announce it at E3 with like a little sizzle reel, and then it could conceivably be a next gen game. Because I mean the fucking gen, we're at the tail end of the gen. I mean, this is the last full year of this current generation. Next fall we're going to start seeing new consoles get released. So I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that this is maybe even a launch game for the next generation. Just kind of like Assassin's Creed Black Flag was at the start of this one. So who knows? I think we've probably run out of topics tonight, and I'm also just feeling like total ass.
Yeah, you sound like you're dying.
And I want and ready tomorrow for our Derek. What's happening tomorrow, man?
So we have a brand new morning show because John's availability has kind of opened up a bit, and he's got Friday mornings open. Me, and him, and Reb,
John and Kathy Lee Gifford.
Yeah, and Kathy Lee Gifford and Ricky Lake are going to be doing a morning show every other Friday is the goal. Right now, it's just going to be the SDGC morning show. The idea is maybe to pick like one or two larger and more casual topics and have more of a lighthearted, save the newsier stuff for the show and more of like the recent release game discussion for the show. It's going to make it a more chill morning thing. We'll see how it goes. It's an experiment, so we will see how it goes. Everything is subject to change, and obviously, it's going to be weird. It's going to be great. And if we wake up and you're just feeling like death, we may not be able to do it.
No, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'm actually feeling. I was feeling worse yesterday.
Okay,
today, so I'm on the mend.
I hope it stays that way. But like, keep an eye on Twitter.
I've got my honey lemon ginger zinger tea.
God, drink you
ready to go.
Drink you a hot toddy, my dude.
My throat coat ready to go.
Get your whiskey. Get your honey. Get your lemon. Get your tea.
I actually bought ice cream to eat for breakfast.
Man, I wish I had a sore throat.
It's a fucking baller move, dude. It's a fucking baller move. And here's the deal too, right? Like it's Halo Top cookie dough. So, dude, you could eat a whole thing of Halo Top, and it's like 320 calories.
It's so good. That's less calories than like the breakfast that I make of like eggs and bacon and potatoes and stuff. Like,
I'm eating the fuck out of that Halo Top on the podcast tomorrow. It's gonna
It's
gonna be fucking fantastic. But yeah, no. So we have our morning show tomorrow, and that begins when, Derek?
I think the goal is to start at 9 a.m. Eastern time.
9 a.m. Eastern time. So for you folks who are at work tomorrow, sitting at your desk, sitting at your computer, SDGC will be live tomorrow.
Wake up with some chill SDGC jams.
And I think
there's no music. There's no jams.
Next Thursday is when we got to do E3 predictions.
Oh, it is about to be time for some E3 predictions.
It's time. Right. I already know that Tom Johnson is down. And maybe we'll get a friend from IGN on the show. Who knows? But E3 is coming up, and we are going to be kicking off some predictions next week. And of course, as always, Sam will be there for the morning show. Hell yeah, Sam! That's what I'm talking about. And of course, we always live stream the conferences, and so we'll be doing that again this year. that's all I got. If you haven't subbed to the channel already, we will never pressure you to do anything. But if you haven't, and you want to, I'm not going to tell you can't.
Hit us with that free Twitch Prime sub.
Yeah,
send us to PAX. Like, send us to. We probably aren't gonna be. We are not gonna be able to. We're definitely not gonna be able to make it to E3 this year.
No, but we are going to PAX West.
We are going to do PAX West. There'll be a couple of us at PAX West. Help send us to PAX West. And continued support will get us back to E3. It's expensive to travel. Gonna pay out of pocket for stuff.
And I'll go ahead and tease you guys.
Kickin's hard style in '78.
PAX West ain't all we got going on this year. Who knows? Maybe we might be back on Kind of Funny this year.
John, are you flying more than once?
I'm not. I'm throwing it out there. Maybe things are in the works. Who knows? I don't know what's going to happen, but all I'm doing is throwing it out there that maybe we might be on Kind of Funny again. Who knows?
Maybe George Clooney's going to be on the podcast.
It's totally happening. But anyway, we will be back right here tomorrow night.
In less than 12 hours.
Tomorrow morning, Jesus Christ, we're gonna be right back here in like 12 hours. But anyway, yeah. If Brandon, you got anything else, man?
No, he's dead.
Brandon died.
No. My mic was muted. Sorry. I think just bitter silence works as well.
Oh, that was so good. All right. Well, if nobody has anything else, Derek, you want to do the sign off?
Yeah. It's not always poetry, and we don't always agree, but we do always keep it real. So until next time, have a good one, y'all.